Welcome all to the Tortillas and Takes podcast. You are on once again with your boy, Albie Shore. And man, I feel good. I feel relaxed. I got my kick feet up, much like the Texas Tech Raiders did, putting BTA, belt to ace, on the Arkansas Pine Bluff Lions. Texas Tech wins by a full beating, 67-7. And to talk about this whooping is the people's champ himself, Jeremy Gillen. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, Albie. We are who we hoped we were, for sure. Man, 1-0.
1-0. Well, so it's funny because I tweeted, but we, so much for 52.5 points being too high of a spread, right?
Hey,
like,
do we sound silly in the best way, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I still wouldn't touch that spread. It's still way too high. even with that, we still won by 60. So it's still like we still just only beat the spread by a touchdown. But still, like it's good to know that you put that high of a spread, and we were just like, I bet, like we still don't cover. We still don't cover. Now, I'll say this, Jeremy, because you mentioned something. You said we are who we thought we were. Are we? Like, what can we take from this game and this butt whipping when you're playing one of the worst FCS teams there are? All right, like, what can you take from it? Is it, hey, Texas Tech just went out and did what they were supposed to do? Is it, we really can't take much of it because UAPB is really that bad? Like, what, if anything, can we take from a game like this?
For me, I try to compare it to FCS games of years past, or even low D1 game where we have battled to the wire and just looked unenthusiastic, looked not, hey, this isn't really the football season, so whatever. This game, just being there, man, just felt a lot different for me. And 90% of that was carried by the defense, because the defense, man, was so warming. And this was certainly a team that to me looked like, hey, we've been practicing all summer. We want to show you guys something. I don't care who we're playing. I don't care how embarrassing it is for them. We're going to go and get it. And I think that really shows up on the stat lines as well. But the energy was just a lot higher, at least for the first two quarters, right? So I think that coupled with maybe the fact that we got to our third and fourth, we got to the third and fourth stringers by the end of it, and we saw Griffiths play, and he get a touchdown as well, Mitch Griffiths, and yeah, I think that basically in the years past, it never really got that out of hand. This year, it was out of hand within the first quarter, in the best way, right?
Yeah, let's be real. Last year, which in what was a really good season, where we went 8-4 in the regular season, for the first time in 20 plus years, we beat Abilene. We beat Abilene Christian by 1 point.
Felt like a loss.
Yeah, it felt like a loss. We beat Abilene Christian by 1 point, right? And I saw somebody tweet about that after the game, and it kind of puts it in perspective. Like, yeah, we can kind of sit back and say, like, it's just an FCS team. It's one of the worst FCS teams, yada, yada, yada. Last year, we did not feel that way. Last year, we very much were like, we only beat this team by a point. And we ended up having a really good season. So it really ended up not mattering. But, the fact that we did take care of business does make me feel good. Does make me feel like, okay. I'll say this. I'm not impressed by the win, but I am satisfied. I am looking at this team like, okay, you went out, you did what you were supposed to do. A grand total of 7 incompletions in this game between the three quarterbacks, right? Baron Morton, only 4 incompletions, only 2 from Will Hammond, only 1 from Mitch Griffiths, right? 6 total passing touchdowns. Adam Hill looked great. At our third string running back that people were making fun of online, of like, oh man, Quentin Joyner is such a bad loss that we're not having to see Adam Hill highlights. Well, he balled. In this game, right? Seeing Jacoby Williams ball out and hurdle a player into the end zone. Cam Dickey, outside of that missed block, ball that he still got to work on, so balled out in this game, right? Like seeing Reggie Virgil and seeing some of that, like we got a chance to see some of the guys that were advertised offensively show up offensively and do what we expect them to do offensively, right? Seeing, with the exception of that one time, our quarterbacks really not get, we're going to talk about that a little bit, but really not get touched in this game. And then also seeing some of the debuts. Somebody also mentioned it. Skylar Gill-Howard had like a PFF rating, which I'm not a big fan of PFF. However, what PFF does do really, it rates offensive and defensive linemen appropriately. And it's probably the best metric for those two positions than anything else that you can find. So though I'm not a big fan of it, though I don't like how they do the ratings in general, it is, you're not going to find really any metrics for O linemen and D linemen outside of like D line sacks. And so Skylar Gill-Howard rated like a 90 something, like a 95 on PFF, right, for a debut. And he just had an absolute fan. And if you take that away, you could see it on film. Incredible debut for Skylar Gill-Howard. And what we were seeing there, getting a chance to see, like, if you look down the amount of all the players that played in this game, we said I want to get to the third stringers. We got to the fourth stringers in some aspects, right? And so, like, that's where I'm satisfied overall.
Can't say much more than that, man. I think that satisfaction is just what to have that in the first week of the season. This is what the big boys do, right? You gotta beat the teams that you're supposed to beat and beat them handedly. And even we had an expedited second half. This team definitely, even down in the third and fourth stringers, like this team was still going to get to 80 if we had two full quarters left to play. Just a really good look at how everybody's kind of playing together, I think, is another way to look at it. Now we'll have Kent State and then unsurprising to me, surprising to some other people, lackluster Oregon State team in that third week. That the 3-0 start in non-conference just feels secure. Feels a lot more secure, especially after that game. Getting to see the guys out there and see them actually playing. There's a lot of excitement from this team.
I think the 3-0 is not only secure, it's necessary at this point. Like this to see. I mean, we already knew UAPB is one of the worst FCS teams in the country. Kent State's one of the worst FBS teams in the country, and then Oregon State's. I mean, the Pac-12 is not a power conference anymore, but if it was, they'd be one of the worst power conference teams in the country. So, those three games back to back to back, we should be going into Utah 4-0. But we're going to talk about Utah here in a little bit because Utah. So let's get a little bit into some of the play-by-play for this game. And so, Jeremy, tell me a little bit about the atmosphere. You were at the game. You were in Lubbock. You were toning it up, you and wifey, having a good old time. Packed stadium against one of the worst FCS teams in the country. So much so that some students couldn't even get in. Absolutely great. The grass was filled, packed stadium. What was the atmosphere like at this game?
I mean, you would have thought it was a ranked team. There was just so much noise throughout the beginning. The pregame show was loud, like had the flyover. Really couldn't tell that there was a flyover just because of how loud the stadium was. And at least for the first couple of drives, like the best part about having home games is that defensive, like the loudness of the stadium. And at least for the first couple of drives, I mean, the Tech defense was calling for this fans to be loud, and man, they were loud. They were so loud, and everyone was excited and hype, and it was just great, man. And obviously, everybody very much on the same page about the tortillas, because I think that's the most tortillas I've ever seen in a game before. It was the most tortillas I've seen at a kickoff. It was incredible. It was like the ideal. They had like the new their smoke machine. They put red dye in it, so the smoke was red. Right, they had the flames going out still. The horse was a little sluggish on the takeoff, but ran out, finally. And yeah, man, it was a party, and everybody was having a great time. The students, I always wonder how the students are going to come into it and how long they're going to stay and all that jazz. And man, they were pretty much there the whole time until we all had that, storm issue. So really a surprisingly active game for being UAPB.
I mean, yeah, and with the storm issue, I mean, you're up by almost 50. It's a storm going out. You're like, listen, I was here to get here in time for me before I had to go drink. It's drinking time. All right. Let's go ahead and get up out of here. But no, it's great to hear that the atmosphere was what it was. I was surprised because I'll say this: usually, first game of the season, people are excited, and it's usually pretty full. It's always usually like 90% full every year. But that's also the game where people are like, Abilene Christian, Murray State, UAPB. We can skip this one. Like usually have a lot of that, right? It's an expectation that Tech's going to win. We can skip it. So to see it to where it is, some students not even be able to get in. I was like, oh man, the hype is there. Hype is absolutely there. So hype is there, and the game starts off with a bang in what was even after UAPB and Christian Peters got the start for them. We talked about in the pre-pod how we weren't sure who the quarterback was going to be. Christian Peters gets the nod for them. You kind of saw why, right? He actually wasn't honestly, and I know obviously the offense didn't play well for UAPB, but Christian Peters I think is still for the SWAC level a decent quarterback, not bad, not too terrible. He kind of showed some looks there, and early on with a couple good passes, you're like, okay, well maybe he might be able to do something. Big sack on third down, leading to the punt, going into Tech's hand, and you would have thought Baron Morton took that first down by Peters personally, because right from the get-go, every time they touched the ball, it felt like a first down. Right, that first pass to C. Doug, then Cam Dickey breaks off a big run, and then before you know it, just like that, taking advantage of the great field position, you score a touchdown in 4 plays, and we hear the dun 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 dun, and then like within the first 5 minutes of the game, the freshmen at Tech are able to sing the fight song. It's great, and then after a 3 and out, it goes into a block punt. Very next play, Baron Morton's like, yeah, let's get this wrapped up. Pass out to Terrence Carter, another touchdown. 5 minutes within the game was 14-0. And just from that moment, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a long day. Because almost every time there was a minor inconvenience by UAPB, whether it's, oh, man, I can't believe Christian Peters got a first down on us, or oh, man, I can't believe the UAPB defense actually held us to a field goal. Well, guess we got to get this interception real quick because how dare they? Jordan Jackson, or not Jordan Jackson, Amir Boyd getting that interception from Christian Peters, which led to another touchdown. And at the end of the first quarter, it is 23-0, and we feeling good, Jeremy.
We're not just feeling good. We're feeling unstoppable. We're feeling bring on Alabama. Right.
Which I mean, that doesn't have the same luster.
And no, like that's fine. Bring them on. I don't care. they don't have Nick Saban. What was those signs saying? But complimentary football. I was watching the kind of recap cinematic video that they published today, that the media team published today, and McGuire saying, the day before that like their identity is like complimentary football. So if the offense comes up short or like if the defense lets something big go, like we make up the difference. We celebrate our wins and we cover the losses. And so, you really felt that. I think you really felt that in that game, doing the small things right, super important. I think that's something that we just can't like overlook in even these smaller games is like managing your mistakes. Because it is even in those smaller games, like those lower profile games, you could be even more tempted to just kind of be push the envelope, be a little bit more rambunctious with be a little bit more gunslingy with your throws, try to get that extra yard and put yourself at risk. And I think that this team just played really clean, despite going up, despite getting way ahead. It never felt like they were taking their foot off the gas, I should say. Which is what we kind of were like, hey, McGuire's going to get up 30 something, and then that's going to pretty much be it. He'll keep that gap as he needs to, but that's the kind of coach that he is. And this time, no. I mean, you're up 23. You open up the second quarter. All right, I don't give an F. More touchdowns. Actually, you know what? Let's get 24 points this quarter. And all of a sudden, you're up 47-0. And it's like, God. There was no rest for UAPB. There was no chance to be like, hey, well, at least we can get some yards, guys. Let's get out there. let's try to get a little. Let's go for that first down. And you got some DN in your face, just absolute menace all night. So a different aura about this team, for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that it continued in the second quarter. I mean, that second 5-play touchdown pass, which led to a 41-yard bomb right to Koiken, who shows off his speed once again. Right. Then after another 3 and out, we have a nice little, and I'm saying an 8-play drive. It was quick, man. The thing lasted 3 minutes, right? That play where Jacoby Williams was able to go out to the side, hurdle a defender right into the end zone. And it just, we're all having a great time until we weren't. There was one play, and actually it's right before Jacoby Williams runs in for the touchdown, the roughing the passer. Cam Dickey's supposed to pick up a block. And we talked about this last year. Cam Dickey kind of sometimes, at times, struggled to pick up blocks last year. And it happened again in this game. He missed the block. He missed the block kind of, I don't know if it maybe shouldn't have been a block or if it was supposed to be a chip or what have you, because he does get his some piece of the defender as he goes in. But the defender kind of has a low tackle right into Baron Morton, right into his knee. And Baron Morton's down for a little bit, has to be helped off a little. He was able to walk under his own might to the sideline, but it's definitely hobbled. And my thought, Jeremy, is this guy can't catch a freaking break. Like, he can't catch a break, man. This is like for first half against UAPB. The guy can't catch a break, and it's unfortunate. We ended up scoring a touchdown right after that, but it's unfortunate. That would be the last we see of Baron Morton. Now, luckily, after the game, we find out there was no damage to his knee. It's a hyperextension of the knee. He's going to be questionable for the next game. It wouldn't shock me if they don't play him at all, just so he doesn't risk it against Kent State. But but just absolute he hasn't been healthy since Oklahoma State 3 years ago. It's kind of crazy.
Wild, man. Wild. First of all, I remember watching that game in an IKEA parking lot and just being blown away by, the athleticism that Morton showed, so much so that Gundy at the end of the game was like, what year's that kid? Oh my God, he's going to be a problem. Like, yeah, he was, but never got that mojo back. And we've like hammered it in of like, let's keep playing him. Let's keep playing him. Let's keep playing him. And like you said, man, it just never stopped. And so the good news is his shoulder is great, which is fantastic. And then his knee gets bumped. It's like, what is going on, man? Brother. So that's 100% Cam Dickey, no doubt. Heard that he was on crutches as a precaution, just fine. I think that, with the scan coming back positive, no tear, no any kind of ligament damage, that's a huge win, but that's going to be sore. I don't know if you ever hyperextended anything. Oh, buddy. I hyperextended my leg one time. I thought I tore something, but no. But I was like down and out for couple weeks. It sucks, man. This stuff sucks. So if you're me, don't Kent State's ass. Play Will Howard, and you got Mitch Griffiths. Like, that's fine. Let a receiver throw the ball. I don't care. But no, I do not think this is a Morton Heisman year campaign. A Heisman campaign year. I think this is very much a Texas Tech go as far as we possibly can year. And to do that, you got to make some strategic choices. And I don't think Morton playing at Kent State's going to be that choice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I think Morton definitely needs reps, and so that's tough that you're going to go full, or at least I know probably the plan was likely to go a half against Kent State, similar to what the plan likely was to go a half here against UAPB. And removing those reps is going to be rough. But flip side, you still have Oregon State the next week. So if it is, if you do have that situation where you can potentially rest Morton for a game, I agree. Will Hammond should be more than enough against Kent State. We should still, I think we opened up as like a 45-point favorite against Kent State. We still should be able to cover that or come close to covering that. I'm not questioning that piece. So I first started off and said, hey, if he can play, go. But now I'm like, nah, man, we got to let him get his reps against Oregon State. I don't want to go and have him going to Utah cold, but let him go and get his reps against Oregon State. Let him chill against Kent State. We need him healthy, absolutely. But I will say, after that, Will Hammond came in and shut down just as much, right? He also kind of balled out to end the first half, right? Started off, he was able to lead the team almost to a touchdown. We kind of got back-to-back incompletions, led to a field goal for his first drive. But what I loved to see from him after another UAPB 3 and out was for him to kind of lead a 2-minute drill. And he said, after a 2-minute drill, I'm going to do this in less than a minute, where he was able to, hit his favorite target, Micah Hudson. First of all, also Micah Hudson getting into the action in this game, playing more snaps than we saw him play last year. But Hammond being able to lead the team, and then Cam Dickey busting off a few big runs into that touchdown right before half, and it's 47-0, Jeremy. 47-0 at halftime. Yeah. I'm watching this game in Austin because instead of being able to be in the comfortability of my own house, I'm watching 11-year-olds play soccer. So me and one of the girls' grandfathers, who's also a tech grad, we're watching it on our phones. And what's funny is that the soccer game I was at actually had a weather delay, and we were supposed to start the game at 6. We didn't end up starting the game till like 7:30. Because of the weather delay. And it seems like that weather that delayed us in the game that really started around like 4 or 5 moved us all the way to Lubbock from Austin, because about that time is when there was a big old weather delay that people thought the world was ending, apparently, in Lubbock. Nice little, I don't even know what to call it. Not even an overcast, just a blocking of the moon.
Independence Day ass looking thing.
Yeah, that covered the stadium. So about an hour and a half delay at halftime. A decision made that it would only be 8-minute quarters. So it's funny because 8-minute quarters, and we still beat that ad by 60. But 8-minute quarters in the second half. And so yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I think that's when, like we mentioned before, that's when all the students were like, yeah, I got a bottle of tequila calling my name. So kind of left there at halftime. A lot of people did leave at halftime or leave it in the third quarter. But I mean, you're up for 47-0. I don't blame anyone that left at halftime. I would have too. And so, but who didn't leave? Will Hammond, the touchdown machine, busting off that 64-yard touchdown run to start the second half, which I think I assume that's when you probably left. It was like, yeah, saw Will Hammond bust off 64 yards.
Second longest quarterback rush for a touchdown. The first, I can't remember what they said the first was, something 71 yards or something like that. So an impressive long run.
Isn't the first Taylor Potts?
No, is it? I don't know.
So Taylor Potts had an incredibly long QB run where and this is all off of memory, so I'm not even going off of what the stat actually is. But he, all throughout the year, he would hand the ball off. And then in this game, he faked a handoff because old, lanky, wild Taylor Potts with the freaking knee brace never runs, right? And instead he kept the ball and ran off for a scamper. And I don't know how long it was, but it was, I mean, you said the longest 70 yards. It would have been. I believe it would have been at least 50 yards that he ran off for. So if it's Taylor Potts, it wouldn't shock me. But yeah, that'd be. But anyways, second longest run. Will Hammond got some wheels though. That's the difference. Taylor Potts was like, who the hell? Will Hammond, you're like, no, the guy can run. He can scamper. He was listed originally, if you remember, he was listed as a dual threat quarterback in high school. So he can
the second threat. Yep.
So we're able to score another touchdown at the end of the third quarter, really busted open, 61-0. Finally, so I was at this point 61-0. I'm like, can the third stringers on defense hold? Can they hold this to a shutout? UAPB finally, for the first time all game, Jeremy, gets to the opposing end of the field in the fourth quarter. Christian Peters has been battling all day. And he has a nice pass out to the flats to get into the Texas Tech side of the field on a third down, and on a play where I was like, all right, we're gonna hold him here, we're gonna be good to go. Good pass over to Weber. Good pass over to Weber, gets it down, and eventually they battle. It's probably, and I don't want to give too much credit to UAP. It was the most exciting drives of the day because every other drive was Texas Tech scores quickly or UAPB folds quickly. This was actually a long 12-play battle between Texas Tech and UAPB that did end in a UAPB touchdown. The defense battled hard. UAPB's offense battled hard. But, that's when you get into that situation where Arkansas Pine Bluff is like, bro, we can't get shut out. We just can't get shut out. So I appreciated the moxie. I appreciated the fight. And I also appreciated the complimentary football that you talked about, Jeremy, where Mitch Griffiths came in and said, man, how dare you not get shut out? How dare you not get shut out? So I gotta do my part. Where he was also running and gunning. Right, he had an 8-yard run, followed by the 8-yard pass, followed up by Adam Hill going crazy, and then finishing it off with a nice pass to the back of the end zone with Bryson Jones with nice touchdown celebration too. And long story short, Texas Tech belt ass, 67-7.
Over, done. See ya. On to the next one. Feels good. It feels good to get a big win like that. The last big win like that I remember in the preseason was like Texas State. Was like Kingsbury's first year or something. 66-6. We whipped it. So yeah, feels good. Confident. Feels satisfying is the right word for this.
I'm trying to see if ChatGPT knows the longest
the longest running Texas Tech podcast.
I mean, obviously, Texas Tech knows that it is the Ortiz and Takes podcast, longest running Texas Tech podcast, 10th year going, ladies and gentlemen. Seth Daggy. It was Seth. I should have known.
Was it really?
Actually, no, take that back. Sorry. No, his was 48 yards. Sorry. Come on, chat. What you doing here?
Come on, GPT. What are we doing here?
Come on, man.
Like
48 yards.
By a regular person or something. Where's my Ultron?
Nah, they use 48 hours. What are we talking about? Anyways, a shout out to my boy Seth Daggy. So that was Texas Tech 67-7, big win. Who impressed you the most on offense in this win?
That's actually really hard to say because we had so many different people contribute. I was actually very satisfied with Reggie Virgil. I think that Reggie Virgil he went up and got it a lot, and he's a very athletic dude. So out of all the receivers, it's pretty much like the people I was focusing the most on. Reggie Virgil, man, like he definitely has got it, and I'm so thankful that he's out there wide.
So I was going to give it to Cam Dickey until he missed that block.
Oh, yes.
So now I'm just going to give it to the entire running back group. Because if there's anybody that has probably felt more disrespect in the last 3 weeks, it has to be all the running backs. Cam Dickey, Adam Hill, and Jacoby Williams. All three of them has to feel some type of way. And all three of them performed. Like they all averaged all of them averaged over 8 yards a carry in this game. All of them were able to all of them averaged over I guess Cam Dickey averaged like 7 yards a carry. But either way, all of them averaged 7 yards a carry or more, right? Adam Hill averaging 11, Jacoby Williams averaging 9. They were all able to really have long runs. Adam Hill didn't score a touchdown, but he was able to really lead and contribute to what was a Mitch Griffiths touchdown. Oh, yeah. All three of them, I think, played really well behind a pretty stout O-line that really didn't get the opposing team to touch anybody. Defensively, who's your guy?
Damn. Defensively, golly. I don't know, man. That was the line. You did the all running back core. Can I just say the defensive line was crazy? Always in there. And we talked about this, and I actually turned around and told the guy behind me, we are so big. we are very large human beings. And when that defensive line lined up against the O-line, like, I mean, you knew they were cooked. You knew they were cooked from the get-go. And every play, everybody is in the back of the field. And they played so well off of each other, too. Oh, dude, it was something to witness for Texas Tech fans. So for me, it's the defensive line. I can't give it to one person over another.
So I was going to give it to Amir Boyd, who got the interception. But then he also gave it the touchdown. So duality of man. So I'm going to give it to Shield Wood, the defensive coordinator. Wow. What a way to start your career here at Texas Tech. A near shutout. Everybody really having everybody on their P's and Q's. We were able to see how this defense was going to perform. We were able to see their ability to break down some of the gap scheme that UAPB was trying to do. We were able to see some of the techniques that the D-line was able to use, right? And that these guys, the well coached. The defense looked and felt very well coached. And in fact, it seemed like almost anything the offense was doing, it didn't matter if there was an issue or was a mistake, because the defense was going to make up for it. So Sherwood, absolutely fantastic job in this game. Any other thoughts when it comes to Texas Tech's dominance here, Jeremy?
None at all. Satisfying.
Satisfying indeed. So what was not satisfying, though, Jeremy, we talked about how the Big 12, if they want to prop themselves up as a conference against these other power conference teams, they got to show out. They got to make it known that, hey, we are here, we are good, we can play. You know what the Big 12 didn't do? Show that we were here, we were good, and that we can play. Of the Power 4 conference teams, Big 12 is the only one with a losing record amongst other Power 4 conferences. It's because we lost that many more times, Jeremy. Wasn't great, Bob. Wasn't great at all. So let's talk about it a little bit as we recap the Big 12 in Week 1. So starting off Thursday night, UCF in a dogfight with Jacksonville State. We talked about it actually while we were potting. That it was at the time it was 3-0. UCF ended up winning the game 17-10 against Jacksonville State. Not a good look there. Any thoughts on that game?
It's disappointing, but I don't know what we were expecting from the Knights. So
yeah,
I don't know what they're expecting anymore either. Tough.
We talked about this while we were recording. U of H, belt to ass against. Well, actually, I won't call this belt to ass. They beat Stephen F. Austin 27-0. Nice shutout. In this game, 27 points. Connor Wegman looked decent, looked pretty good. So nice solid win by the Cougs there. Oklahoma State also 27-7 against UT Martin, just solid. Nothing to be fearful of.
But they lost their quarterback.
They did lose their quarterback. That is correct. They did lose House Hedgney, who. I think a lot of people were expecting Zane Flores to win the quarterback competition, and then he didn't. And then the guy who loses it too, gets hurt. So now we're back to Zane Flores. But Zane Flores actually did play pretty well. And, a part of me wonders if this is like a Max Duggan situation where the guy they choose isn't the guy they need. But luckily for us, Oklahoma State we know is bad. So it won't be a Max Duggan situation. So there's that. Kansas beat the hell out of Wagner, 46-7. That I will consider belt to ass.
That is belt to ass.
That is a big win there. Arizona State beating the hell out of Northern Arizona. Sam Leavitt looking good, looking pretty good. Did give up an interception in this game, but had a couple nice runs, over 300 yards in total offense, 4 touchdowns for him. Can't complain. Looked really good. Looked every bit like a guy that NFL scouts are going to like in this game against Northern Arizona. We did have Iowa State 55-7 over South Dakota, right? Big win there. West Virginia beating up on Robert Morris 45-3. BYU, probably the biggest, most lopsided win of the weekend, beating Portland State 69-0. and Arizona at home beating up on Hawaii 40-6. Which really the story of this game is that Stanford is going to be really bad. that's the story of that game. Is that Stanford's going to stink. So I mentioned all the blowouts to get to the games that matter a little bit more. So Cincinnati, which the game was played at Arrowhead Stadium. Taylor Swift is in attendance. The newly engaged, her and Travis Kelce. I joked with some friends of mine that it was the only time that Pat Mahomes was in a luxury suite and was not the most famous person in the box. The game I didn't know, though, was supposed to be a Cincinnati home game. I actually did not know that. It was supposed to be on Cincinnati's campus. And they moved it to KC to, get more exposure, get more people in the stadium. But I'm like, you fools. You just made it a Nebraska home game, which it was. It was a Nebraska home game. And they lost the game 20-7. Though Cincinnati lost, I actually don't think they played bad. I came away from the game not impressed because it's still a loss, but like, okay, Cincinnati, you showed me a little something.
Yeah, they were slow going. I think at the first half, especially that second quarter, really couldn't get anything going when Nebraska really, I remember taking off. But I don't know, man. Like, not too bad, not too shabby from Cincinnati. I do think that they're going to feel like they left a couple of scores out there, which they really did. They could have beaten Nebraska, and they just didn't pull it together. So definitely some yellow flags there still for the Bearcats, just in terms of maybe coaching decisions and times of duress and stuff like that. But like we said, this is a loss for Nebraska, even with the win. It's like you beat what would be considered kind of a lower tier Big 12 team by 3. And it was you needed them to make a couple of mistakes at the end to make sure that happened. So great, kind of a good loss for Cincinnati, bad win for Nebraska kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati was going towards the game tying or game winning play. Like, they were ready to go for it, and it wasn't for that interception. It definitely looked like they were going to, at the very least, be able to tie the game and go to overtime. So, absolutely, Nebraska squeaked away with that one. I will say, Sorsby averaging less than 3 yards an attempt, a passing attempt, is not great. Oh my goodness, the passing game was awful in this one. So if you're a person in the secondary or anything like that, you're kind of licking your chops when it comes to Cincinnati. But Sorsby, good wheels, just did not show off that arm whatsoever. But that was an interesting one there. Auburn and Baylor. Auburn was the road favorite in this game. I think a lot of national media people weren't surprised by this outcome. To me, though, this was not a good showing by Baylor whatsoever. Not a good showing. But Sawyer Robertson in that passing game, we have to throw almost 50 times in this game. Not great, right? They never really got the running game going because they virtually fell behind from onset. And listen, it's actually very interesting. Jackson Arnold only threw for 108 yards in this game, but he looked like a much better quarterback.
He ran for 137.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, he looked.
Yeah,
he looked like the Jackson Arnold that Sooner fans thought he would be at Oklahoma.
That's right.
He actually looked much better. Thoughts on this game?
I will say for the Baylor fans out there were a couple calls, in my opinion, that were weird. But ultimately, man, the defense's inability to stop Jackson Arnold and to stop this team from scoring, especially in the second and third quarters. I mean, you have to do more, especially when you're at home. You just got to do more. You had a lot of hype coming into the season, a lot of expectations to be a challenger for the Big 12. And you're getting an Auburn team that's kind of like, maybe are they not? And very much they wanted to prove that they're superior, and they made sure that they did so. Just really disappointing showing from the Bears. And can't blame on the referees because you didn't lose by 1. You lost by like 14 points. So, it's a significant swing. And I think that, Baylor's going to have to really bounce back from this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We talked about Baylor being a contender in the Big 12. They did not look like a contender in this game, to me anyways. So, So absolutely there. Another team, Colorado, losing a home game against Georgia Tech. A game where Caden Salter, I don't know, nothing special. He didn't play bad. I wouldn't say he played good either, right? And that's kind of how I felt about this entire Colorado team in this game. I'm like, y'all aren't bad, but nothing you're doing is good either, as they lost this game 27-20.
Big 12 defense against a dual threat quarterback in Haynes King. If he runs and passes, then it might be a long night for you. So I'm not surprised by Colorado's loss here. I wanted Colorado to be the victor just because, again, this is a team that, you've got a lot of expectations, even though you lost Shooter Sanders, even though you lost Travis Hunter. You're supposed to have some depth there to kind of help make up for that. You don't have a rubber band situation. And ultimately, you allow Georgia Tech to just get the better of you. And so I'm not sold on Colorado, but I'm not out on Colorado either. I think they could be a middle level team. They just got to start pulling some stuff together.
Well, now for the two teams that actually did something positive for the Big 12. Starting with Utah. 43-10 over UCLA. Now, Nico Ayamaleva, all the nonsense that he caused to Tennessee, all this. Let me tell you, guys, listen. You got to make a decision that's best for you. And Nico, you got to look at the last 6 months of your life and say, how did I even let it get to this? Because you were at one point the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Vols, a top 10 team in the country, a team that had CFP aspirations, potentially national championship aspirations. And you put them through the ringer this summer. It became a huge distraction. But the team now is, nobody really believes in Tennessee. You end up leaving, going to UCLA, and you looked terrible because you don't have the talent around you at UCLA like you did at Tennessee. You looked terrible. The team looked terrible. Utah just beat the hell out of you. Devin Dampier looked great in this. He looked best player on the field in this game. Devin Dampier kind of scared me in this game. I'm like, ooh, oh. I thought he might be good this year. If Devin Dampier, now this is UCLA, and this UCLA defense showed that they are not very good. They said this UCLA defense was like, we got two players. We got Isaiah Chisholm and John Vaughns. Outside of them two, we are not very good. And Devin, so take that with a grain of salt. But Devin Dampier looked incredible in this game. And so, but Utah just beat the hell out of UCLA in the Rose Bowl. An empty Rose Bowl, but what else is new for UCLA? Just beat them like they stole something. In the first half, they scored in every possession but one, right? Actually, no, in the entire game, they scored in every possession but one. Sorry. So, what's going on here, UCLA? But Utah put the Big 12 on its back a little bit.
That's right. Surprising turn for the Utes. Something we talked about, Devin Dampier kind of stepping into that quarterback role throughout the whole summer. Might be dangerous.
Might be dangerous indeed. And then the game that just ended before we recorded this one, TCU beating the hell out of North Carolina in their debut. North Carolina started out the game, scoring a touchdown, forcing a 3-and-out, and everyone's like, whoa, Bill Belichick. Or not, well, technically it wasn't a 3-and-out, 4-and-out, whatever. But whoa, Bill Belichick. It's amazing. It's a genius. Colin Cowherd was like, this is the second greatest football coach ever. Him and Nick Saban on a tier by themselves. Second greatest college coach ever after 2 possessions. He was like, tier by themselves. Nobody else is even better. And then 48 points later, TCU just couldn't stop it. I mean, it's one of those weird things, though. I'm like, well, is TCU amazing? Is Josh Hoover going to have a great season? Is Barnes going to just turn up? Is Jordan Dwyer going to have a good season? Which I do think Jordan Dwyer's going to have a good season. But are these guys going to be as great as they look? Or is UNC in to look like the Patriots looked the last 2 years of Bill Belichick's career? Right? What is it? Is it like with the Utah game, for example, it's a little column A, little column B. We know UCLA is going to be bad, but also Utah might be pretty good. Is TCU really this good, or are we just like, man, the Bucs don't know what the hell he's doing at this level? Gio Lopez was the wrong choice because Max Johnson looked 30 times better. What is it? But TCU, big win. Real quick, this whole segment, I've tweeted about this. Whole thing about TCU feeling disrespected. Y'all are the road favorites. Okay?
Just because people don't talk about you, because obviously the bigger stories across the field does not mean that people disrespected you. You were the road favorites in this game, all right? People thought you were going to win, okay?
Yeah.
Shut the hell up. Anyways, go ahead.
That's right. Bill Belichick, though, experiencing maybe kind of what Nick Saban did when he tried to jump up to the NFL. It's like, maybe this ain't for me after all, brother.
Stay in your lane.
I'm going to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Great win by TCU on the road. Yeah, I mean, they beat North Carolina in front of Michael Jordan, so can't ask for much more than that.
MJ don't care.
He was there. A lot of people.
He was there. He was there, but he was like, "What's going on? This is football, huh? We got a football team? That's crazy." That's how Michael Jordan was. I did save one game that I have not talked about yet because I got to put a team on fraud alert.
There it is.
2 weeks in, I got to put a team on fraud alert. Kansas State, come to the front of the pulpit. Come to the front of the pulpit because you lose to Iowa State and in a really bad offensive showing. And you are in a dogfight with North Dakota. Not North Dakota State, North Dakota. Now, mind you, North Dakota is still a good FCS team. You beat them by 3 points. You beat them by a field goal. Avery Johnson, once again, if you look at the stats, you think he played well. If you watch the game, you know he didn't. Right? There's another, and now, as bad as the offense looked last game, the defense looked just as bad in this game. North Dakota looked like they could do whatever the hell they wanted, right, in this game. This is really bad showing by this team. And North Dakota they had the lead in the fourth quarter, and they had multiple opportunities to put the game away, and they just didn't. Yeah. Right? They had multiple opportunities to put the game away, and they just didn't, including an opportunity with less than a minute to go where they could have either kicked the field goal to go to overtime or to win the game, and they just weren't able to do it. They got to who out the midfield point, and then, of course, it was a little too late. But you squeaked away with the win. Now, this is from a fan base that just beat an FCS team by 1 point last year and was a game away from the Big 12 championship. So this is not going to end your season. But this combined with the Iowa State game, I got to put you on fraud alert because it doesn't look good, Kansas State. It does not look good right now. You're absolutely on fraud alert. And with that being said, Jeremy, my last piece here is that what team do you look at now and say, you are not who I thought you were?
It's Kansas State, just front and center. I think that I'm very impressed by the way that teams like West Virginia, BYU, especially with, coming off of switching their quarterback late in the offseason, Arizona playing Hawaii, didn't expect them to get a kind of a 40 there just because I'm not a big Noah Fafita guy. But, yeah, man, Kansas State, you're bumming us out because we picked you to meet us in the Big 12 championship, and now that looks like a really dumb thing. Baylor also, Auburn, not for me, like SEC, middle of the pack kind of team, unless we're missing something big. But Baylor, if you're going to be a Big 12 favorite, you've got to show up. And whenever you kind of lay an egg, then that's got all these ESPN pundits going, I told you so. The SEC is just better, right? But I don't know. Very impressed by other teams. Subtly impressed by Cincinnati, albeit disappointed, right? I think this has been a pretty nice little shakeup. I am surprised Houston blanking SFA after losing their defensive coordinator. Pretty impressive. So we'll see kind of how that storyline plays out. But things looking a little weird in the Big 12 this year.
So coming into this, both of you and I agreed that there were 5 contenders this year. Our 5 contenders were Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Baylor, and Arizona State. Even though we weren't a huge believer in Arizona State, we still had them listed as a contender. Do you want to adjust? And I think this will be a week-to-week thing. I like the 5 contenders. Do we want to change anybody in those 5 contenders?
So out of the 5, we're saying it's Texas Tech, Baylor, Iowa State,
Kansas State, and Arizona State. Those are the 5 initial contenders.
Man.
I'll tell you, I'm willing to make a change.
I'd put, I might put. I bet if you put them on a field, Kansas would beat Kansas State. So I'd probably put Kansas State there at the bottom.
So I'll say this: the two teams that impressed me the most, or so far has impressed me the most, have been Kansas and Utah. Those are the two games I'm like, okay, I'm impressed. Kansas, I know you haven't played anybody real, but the way you've handled both of your games, the way you handled Fresno State, the way you handled Wagner, impressive, right? I'm going to wait to see how they play against Missouri before I say they're a contender. That's going to be a big game
for that game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to wait. I am willing to make a change, however. Kansas State, I no longer believe in you. I'm sorry. I don't believe in you yet. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to put Utah in. I know they were just playing UCLA. I know that it's nothing to scoff at. I get all that. Devin Dampier is the reason why I feel like I can put Utah on the contender list, because Devin Dampier legitimately looks like throw his hat in the ring for potential Big 12 Player of the Year. That's how much he impressed me in this game. And so yeah. And then I always, to be honest, I look at Utah as a team that could sneak their way in to begin with. They were right on the outside of that with they were right on the outside of the quote unquote contender list already. And so they are a team to be in there as well. But I think other teams to look out for, definitely Kansas, and see what they do in the Missouri game. Also, TCU, gotta say, they were not a team that was on my list, on my radar to contend at all. But Josh Hoover looked good. The team looked good. We'll see if North Carolina is just frauds or not. They play SMU in a couple weeks. That'll give us a good idea of just how good TCU is, and if they can get that revenge from last year. But yeah, that's my change that I would make is Kansas State. You can still work your way back in, right? This is an ever evolving list of 5, but I'm willing to take Kansas State out and put Utah in. And Baylor, you're on thin ice.
Yeah.
Baylor, you are on thin ice. So, what does Baylor play next? Baylor plays they play SMU next week. So Baylor, we're gonna find out about Baylor real quick. We're gonna find out about Baylor real quick. Baylor, people at the Big 12 offices don't like Baylor, or whoever schedules Baylor stuff does not like Baylor. Because last year we talked about how Baylor actually was a good team. They just had a really crappy start to the season. And this year they have Auburn at SMU, Samford. Then they have Arizona State, Oklahoma State, and then Kansas State to start the season. So their first 6 games, 3 of them are preseason ranked teams, and one of them is an SEC team to start the season. So 4 really tough games to start the season for Baylor. Yeah, so just not a lot of love there for Baylor. For Baylor scheduling, we could easily see such a scenario, just like last year, where they start the season off, 2-4, and then rally off at the end of the rest of the season, start rallying off wins as they play teams like UCF, Arizona, and Houston to end the season. So who knows? We'll see. So big stuff there. Well, Jeremy, anything else you want to say to the people?
Wild and wacky stuff. Going to be a fun rest of the season. Let's just get next to Kent State.
On to Kent State, we will have an episode going for that one as well later this week, so be on the lookout for that. Hopefully we get more information about Baron Morton's knee and his playing status as we head into that game. We do open up as big favorites in that game, so that's pretty exciting. It'll be a noon game, so students, if you're new to how noon games work at Texas Tech, please wear sunscreen. See if you can bring an umbrella or something. It's going to be hot, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be hot. And actually, I undersold it. We're 48.5-point favorites for this game. So
I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I mean,
I learned.
You mean you're picking Tech to cover, Jeremy? You do this every week, damn it.
Yeah. I'm picking Tech to cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there, but we'll be fun. I will say, I didn't tweet this out. Now, obviously, Kent State is bad. But one player we are going to talk about for a couple reasons, right? Not just because there, not just because of his name, but also his ability. And that is the realist. You heard about this?
Yes. I saw your tweet.
Yeah, the realist. He is the realist. So what's his last name? Hold on. The realist Clark is the kick returner and receiver for the Kent State Golden Flashes. He actually ran a kick back in last week's game. 100 yards. He runs like a 4.3 40. He was actually the difference maker against Merrimack as they barely won that one, 21-17. But the realist Clark was able to just run that thing back 100 yards showing off that 4.3 speed. So somebody to watch out for. Luckily for us, actually I got tweeted back by his receiver coach about how his ability, but he don't get an offense. So you got a 4.3 guy. He must not be able to catch. I don't know, but he don't get an offense, so it don't matter. But especially you got to watch out for him. But great name, and he's showing it with that 4.3 speed. So something there. We'll talk more about the realist and the rest of the Golden Flashes later this week. As for this game, great performance by the Red Raiders. Beating a team by 60 always feels good, no matter who it is. So hopefully we do it again, right? We do it again this week, upcoming week against Kent State, which I expect it. I expect us to do so. So I know Coach McGuire does too. So I also expect us to get up out of here. So for the People's Champ that is Jeremy Gillen, this is your boy Albie Shore, and you have listened to the Tortillas and Takes podcast, part of the 1012 Network. As always, stay right, people.